Army Ranger Medal of Honor recipient Robert Pruden was killed in action at only 20 years old while helping to save his men. Army Staff Sergeant Robert Pruden volunteered to join the Army as the Vietnam War raged. He told his family he wanted to make a difference and wanted to serve. Pruden never returned from war, but he did make all the difference to the men in his unit who were able to come home because of him. For that selfless sacrifice, he earned the Medal of Honor. In 1967, Pruden joined the Army and then was accepted into the Rangers of the 75th Infantry Regiment. His unit, Company G, was sent to Vietnam in early February 1969. On November 29, 1969, Pruden, a reconnaissance team leader, was on duty in the Quang Ngai province. His 6-man team had been inserted by helicopter into Viet Cong-controlled territory. Their mission was to gain intelligence on enemy movements and set up an ambush position. When they reached the area in which they were supposed to set up, Pruden divided his men into 2 groups on opposite sides of a well-used trail. As they began to set up their defensive positions, one of the team members who was out in the open suddenly got trapped by a wall of heavy enemy small arms and rocket-propelled grenade fire. Pruden, who quickly realized their ambush position had been compromised, directed his team to fire back. As soon as they did, they were hit with heavy fire from a second hidden enemy position. Pruden quickly jumped out of the safety of his concealed location and fired back. He ran toward the enemy, hoping to draw their fire away from his men. Pruden was wounded twice as he bravely charged toward the incoming gunfire, but he continued attacking until he fell for a 3rd time in front of the enemy's position. The few moments the 20-year-old had left to live were spent directing his men into defensive positions and calling for evacuation helicopters, which safely withdrew his soldiers. Pruden died that day, but his actions killed several Viet Cong soldiers and forced the enemy's withdrawal. Pruden's body was returned home and buried in Fort Snelling National Cemetery. On April 22, 1971, Pruden's family accepted a Medal of Honor during a White House ceremony. In 1992, Pruden was inducted into the Army Ranger Hall of Fame. The 75th Ranger Regiment holds a tactical field skills competition every year now called the Pruden Competition. God bless Robert Pruden. And God bless our vets.